Okay. It makes sense, but at no point watching No Longer Allowed in Another World did I think the title was gonna relate to the MC being the judge, jury, and executioner, almost the Grim Reaper of this world, who decides to take other Otherworlders and throw their bitch ass back into their own reality, with basically giving them a second chance at life. I'm still firmly convinced this man's immortal, and it's gonna be a sick, ironic twist that a person who constantly wants to die can't, because with the number of pills, the amount of poison he has consumed, a beast can bite him and die from the poison. There's no way. I refuse to accept he's not an ironic twist of wanting to die but can't. But his secret skill ability is revealed to be this writing ability that basically, if it's targeting other people who've been summoned into this isekai environment, he can actually throw them and reverse the teleportation, which is so interesting because you don't see it coming. Like, even if you think his abilities related to writing, the idea of forcing the Otherworlders back, it makes sense once you see it, and then when you look at the title, you're like, oh, that makes so much sense. But before the reveal, you just kind of assume, like, no one's allowed in this world. Like, universally, Otherworlders are hated. Like, they always do bad shit. So if anything, you're probably thinking just in general, isekai characters just aren't accepted. And then they hit you. And they made me feel bad for this guy. And at first I was a little frustrated. I was like, don't make me feel bad for this guy. This guy's literally out here petting people, turning them into slaves. And then you start seeing just his previous life and then how he gets treated the same in this world. And it's like, bitch, you guys summoned him. This is literally the shield hero treatment. You can't get upset because they're not what you want them to be. It's like, you ripped them from one reality. You used Truck-kun to ruin this guy's life a second time. And what an episode of easily one of the best shows of the season. Let's be honest with ourselves. I do have full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see my full and good thought to any of these episodes. It's going to be over there exclusively. So first things first, I want to talk about my feelings on this man. Because he was a scumbag. He was. And I don't think anything in present day is changed. Like, just because you can explain why someone does shitty things doesn't mean it excuses those actions. It just explains. But when you consider the fact that he had a pretty typical kind of like isekai upbringing where he got treated like garbage. Pretty much he was treated as the pet, the mutt, the person to be kicked and beaten. But the thing about it was he wasn't immediately like that as soon as given power. Which is what I appreciate, because I figured it was going to be the direction of, well, if you give a depressed kid unlimited power, depressed kid's going to most likely take it out on people who even give him the slightest hint of dissatisfaction, right? And the idea that he almost immediately seemingly just gets treated the same way as he did in his previous world. And it's frustrating because if you look at it from the general public's point of view, it's probably like, oh, these isekai characters they're horrible. They always do these shitty things, or they're monsters, right? Or simply because he looks different, right? There's so many different things that could be at play. But imagine being someone who's like, okay, I'm getting the second chance at life, and I'm just being treated the same. Yeah, it's no wonder the kid kind of went off his rocker. Does it excuse it? No, but it explains it. And immediately I was like, damn it, now I understand why this kid went off the deep end. But the fact that you think that's going to be one of the bigger things about this episode, because really, you know, going from this dude giving me sexual predator vibes to, god damn it, I actually kind of feel bad about his life being such living hell up to this point, to then casually Sensei coming in, because the whole time he's like, I'm going to make me a masterpiece. And I'm like, bro, how are you going to write a story that's going to be a masterpiece in like 30 minutes? Come on, like, let's be honest here. And he comes out, and when the circling animation starts happening with all the pages, and how he just summons him back to his reality, I really appreciate that they did show us a glimpse of what happened afterwards. If you watch after the credits, he got a job. Truck-kun's no longer able to be seen. I think he should have looked both ways a couple more times, but that's just me if I've already been isekai by Truck-kun. The fact that he actually is taking it up and trying to be a better person and having a second chance at life. Sensei is a depressed lunatic. He is. But he refuses to let people just casually throw their life away. Like, he's the type of character who's like, listen, I know I want to die. I'm like convinced and I'm committed to this. But are you sure you want to? It's like, He's an interesting fellow, and I love the idea that he pretty much is like, listen, I didn't we didn't ruin his life, right? You know, his life might have been ruined if we would have kept him here, just given everything that's happened. But by sending him back, the ball's in his court. What he does with that is up to him. If he wants to be an edgelord, if he wants to give up on life, that is all on him. But also, it was almost like a therapy session, and it actually worked out, and I think really elevated this show into something more. The first couple episodes of this show is just peak comedy. It's just so ridiculous. It's morbid humor, but it works for me. But then you look at the past couple of episodes, including this one, and it's like, okay, this show is becoming a lot more interesting. It's not just the Isekai character wants to die joke every other second. They still, I mean, you can't tell me it wasn't funny when this woman thought he had this amazing plan with poison and then he just starts chugging that shit back. Like, that's pretty funny. But it's the fact that at the end of the day, this isn't the first time senseis refused to let someone just casually give up on life, right? The fact that when our girl wanted to like get blasted by the monster 2 episodes back or so, like, he pushed her out of the way because he knew that that isn't what she wanted. Or in this episode when just everything about it is just so well done. And I think it frustrates you in the right way, and it makes you look at this as not your run-of-the-mill isekai. I thought this would just be pretty much an isekai I've seen before, but with a depressed MC that makes me laugh. And I would have been okay with that for 12 episodes. But now you've given me all that, but then you have this interesting story, and it's like, it's not the first time you go after other isekai characters, right? But it's the idea that this whole world's been messed up because they keep summoning the wrong people, and obviously you are. You're isekaiing the most oppressed people. They would have a better shot if they isekai'd the happy people, or the talented people, and just lie and say you didn't have any involvement in Truck-kun and it was a freak accident, but we're glad you're here. You do that, you probably have a lot better heroes on your hands. But when you get the depressed wannabe school shooters, I mean, yeah, you're not gonna have the best heroes at the end of the day, let's be honest. But the fact that you've given Sensei such a purpose, and the fact that they revealed it here rather than in the first couple of episodes, because up to this point, there's been enough like, okay, he might be a depressed weirdo, but I appreciate that he doesn't just let anyone toss their life away. So then when you reveal that he's actually giving people essentially a second chance, they don't belong in this world, but you should try again in your other world, is actually a really interesting characterization moment. But let me know what you thought of this week's episode, because I think this show's been amazing, but like, if they keep it up, like, this could be like a masterpiece level isekai. I'm gonna say that. I mean, say what you want, but like, this shit's like really, really good right now. Thoughts down below though. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Hunter D. Lupin, Charlie Collings, Zeno, Michael Goodley, Yuki Ali, Aloon, Rogue Knight, and Pranay Samshwar. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you'll have a good one.